Welcome to episode 18 of Hardcore WoW and Stoic Philosophy, where TeflonStoic hopefully makes it to level 60. We're going to continue our adventure and our teachings of Stoic philosophy and Roman moral virtue.
What appearances can be a powerful deceiver of reason. And when you are most convinced that you are dealing with things that are worth your effort, it is then that they deceive you the most. So, consider what Crates said about Xenocrates himself. Most of the things that the masses admire are basic objects, those that are held together by cohesion or natural structure, such as stones, wood, fig trees, vines, or olives. But the things that are admired by people who are slightly more reasonable are connected to things that are held together by a living principle, like flocks or herds of animals. The things admired by people who are even more educated are those that are connected to a rational soul, but not a universal soul. Only rational to the extent that it is skilled in some art, or expert in some other way, or simply rational to the extent that it possesses a number of slaves. But the person who values a rational soul, a soul that is universal and fit for social life, cares for nothing else except this. Above all things, they keep their soul in a state and activity that conforms to reason and social life, and they work together with others who share the same kind of values. Some things are rushing into existence, while others are rushing out. Even as something is born, part of it is already dying. The world is constantly being renewed by motions and changes, just as time keeps flowing endlessly. In this river of life, where nothing stays still, what is really worth valuing among all the things that rush by? It's like falling in love with a sparrow that flies by, but it's already gone out of sight. Life is just like that, transient, like a breath you take in and let out. Breathing and taking in impressions are not things to be valued, just like how plants transpire and animals breathe. Nor is it valuable to be driven by desires like a puppet on strings, or to gather in groups. Even eating is just about getting rid of the waste later. So what should be valued? Applause? No. Nor should we value the clapping of tongues, which is just empty praise from the crowd. If you've given up on trivial fame, what's left to value? To me, it's this: to act or refrain from acting according to your own nature, as skills and crafts teach. Every craft aims to make its product fit for its purpose, just as a gardener, a horse trainer, or a dog trainer does.
Caught a mouse.
The same goes for educating and teaching young people. That's where the real value lies.
Our loot.
And if you hold on to this, you won't need anything else. Will you not stop valuing so many other things too? Otherwise, you'll never be free, never be self-sufficient, and never be without passion. You'll be envious, jealous, and suspicious of those who can take away what you value. And you'll plot against those who have what you want. If you desire any of these things, you'll be in a state of turmoil, and you'll often find yourself blaming the gods. But if you honor and respect your own mind, you'll be content with yourself, in harmony with society, and in agreement with the gods, praising all they give and have arranged. Everything around you, the earth, the sky, the elements, is constantly in motion. But the movement of virtue doesn't follow these. It's something more divine and moves forward along a path that's hard to understand. People act in strange ways. They won't praise those who are alive at the same time and living alongside them, but they place great value on being praised by future generations, by people they have never seen and never will see. This is very much like being upset because those who lived before you didn't praise you. If something is difficult for you to accomplish, don't think that it is impossible for any person. But if something is possible for a human, and in line with their nature, then you should believe that you can achieve it as well. In gymnastic exercises, suppose someone scratches you with their nails, or hits your head and causes a wound. We don't show signs of anger, nor are we offended, nor do we suspect them afterward as being treacherous. Yet, we remain cautious around them, not as an enemy, nor with suspicion, but simply by quietly staying out of their way. Let your behavior be like this
Well,
in
the
all
esteemed Dr.
parts of
Gustav
life.
van Housen can train you
Let
further.
us overlook
He can be
many
found in
things
Theramore
people
treating the
who are
wounded
like
at the
opponents
barracks.
in the gymnasium. It is within our power, as I said, to avoid them without suspicion or hatred. If anyone can convince me and show me that I am not thinking or acting correctly, I will gladly change, for I seek the truth, by which no one was ever harmed. But the person who stays in their error and ignorance is the one who is injured. I do my duty. Other things do not trouble me, because they are either things without life, or things without reason, or things that have lost their way and do not know the right path. As for animals that have no reason, and generally for
Keep your
all
feet on the
things
ground.
and objects, since you have reason and they do not, make use of them with a generous and liberal spirit. But towards human beings who do have reason, behave with a social spirit, and on all occasions call on the gods, and do not trouble yourself about how long you shall do this. For even 3 hours spent this way are sufficient. Alexander the Macedonian and his groom were brought to the same state by
Keep 'em
death.
fed, kid. Yep,
They
they're
were
on Rick
either
soon, at your
received into the
service.
same primary elements of the universe, or they were equally dispersed among the
Off
atoms.
with you.
Consider how many things happen at the same moment within each of us. Things that concern the body, and things that concern the soul. So do not be surprised if many more things, or rather all things that exist in the one whole, which we call the cosmos, exist at the same time. If someone should ask you how the name Antoninus is written, would you loudly and impatiently shout out each letter? What if they become angry? Will you become angry too? Wouldn't you rather calmly spell out each letter in order? In the same way, in life, remember that every duty is made up of certain parts. It is your duty to observe these parts. And without
Wildhammer
being
dwarves might
disturbed
have
or showing
fast
anger
steeds,
towards
but
those
can
who
those
are angry
airy
with
pink
you,
griffins stand the
continue
heat
on
of the
your
Great
way
Forge?
and
I think
complete
not.
what is set before you. How cruel it is not to allow people to strive after the things that seem suitable to their nature and beneficial. Yet in some way, you do not allow them to do this when you are vexed because they do wrong. For they are certainly moved towards things because
Wildhammer
they believe
dwarves
them to
might
be
have
suitable
fast
to their
steeds,
nature
but
and
can those
beneficial
airy
to them.
pink griffins stand
But
the
if
heat
it
of
is
the
not
Great
so,
Forge? I
then
think
teach
not.
them and show them without being angry.
Keep your feet.
Death is the end of impressions through the senses, the end of the pulling strings that move our desires, the end of the wandering thoughts, and the end of serving the flesh. It is a shame for the soul to be the first to give up in this life, when your body does not give up. Take care that you do not become like a Caesar, that you are not stained with that dye, for such things happen. Keep yourself simple, good, pure, serious, free from affectation, a friend of justice, a worshipper of the gods, kind, affectionate, and diligent in all proper acts. Strive to remain the kind of person that philosophy intended to make you. Reverence the gods and help people. Life is short. There is only one true fruit of this earthly life: a pious disposition and social acts. Do everything as a disciple of Antoninus. Remember his consistency in every act that was in line with reason, his even temper in all things, his piety, the calmness of his expression, his gentleness, his disregard for empty fame, and his efforts to understand things, and how he never let anything pass without first carefully examining it and clearly understanding it, and how he bore with those who blamed him unjustly without blaming them in return, how he did nothing in a hurry, how he ignored slander, how exact he was in examining manners and actions, how he did not reproach people, nor was he timid, suspicious, or a sophist, and how little he was satisfied with, such as his lodging, bed, clothes, food, and servants, and how hard-working and patient he was, and how, because of his frugal diet, he could last until evening without needing to relieve himself, except at the usual hour,
See you soon.
and his steadiness and consistency in his friendships, and how he tolerated free speech from those who opposed his opinions, and the pleasure he took when someone showed him a better way, and how religious he was without being superstitious. Imitate all of this, so that you may have as clear a conscience when your last hour comes as he had. Return to your sober senses and call yourself back.
What can I
When
do
you have
for you?
awakened from sleep and realized that it was only dreams that troubled you, now in your waking hours, look at the things around you as you did at those dreams. I am made of a small body and a soul. Now to this small body, all things are indifferent, because it cannot perceive differences. But to the mind, those things are indifferent only if they are not the works of its own activity. Whatever things are the works of its own activity, all these are within its power. However, of these, only those which are done with
Safe
reference
travels.
to the present matter. For as to the future and past activities of the mind, even these are indifferent at the present moment. Neither labor that the hand does, nor that of the foot is against nature, as long as the foot does the foot's work, and the hand does the hand's. So then, neither is a person's labor against nature, as long as they do the things of a person. But if the labor is not against their nature, neither is that harmful to them. How many pleasures have been enjoyed by robbers, parricides, and tyrants? Do you not see how craftsmen adapt themselves up to a certain point to those who are not skilled in their craft? Yet they hold firmly to the reason and principles of their art, and do not allow themselves to depart
Stormlight
from
wants
it.
you to personally see
Is
the
it not
shipment to Iron
strange
Man?
if the architect and the physician
Suppose
show more
that's
respect
fine.
for the
The
reason
only
and
problem
principles
is,
of their
I've
own
already sent
arts
Huldar with the
than a
porters
person
Moran and
does for their
Cyan?
own
Just
reason,
missed them.
which is
They left
shared
just a
with the
short while
gods?
ago.
Asia
It's not
and
too late,
Europe
though.
are
You're
small
welcome to go to
corners
look
of
for
the
Huldar.
universe.
He can't have made
All
it very
the
far.
sea is
Strong
just
as
a
they are,
drop in the
Moran and
universe.
Cyan can only move so
Athos
fast,
is just a
laden
small
down with
clod
those
of
barrels.
earth in the
They're
universe.
taking the normal route to the
All of
site,
present
leaving
time
south out of
is
town
just a
and following
point
the
in
curve of the
eternity.
lock. Shouldn't have a
All
problem
things are
finding them
small,
unless they've
changeable,
already got
and perishable. All things come from there, from that universal ruling power, either directly or as part of a sequence. Accordingly, the lion's gaping jaws, that which is poisonous, and every harmful thing, like thorns or mud, are byproducts of the grand and beautiful. Do not then imagine that they are different from what you venerate, but form a just opinion of the source of all. He who has seen the present has seen all, both everything that has taken place from all eternity, and everything that will happen for time without end. For all things are of one kind and one form. Frequently consider the connection of all things in the universe and their relation to one another. For in a way, all things are intertwined with one another, and all are friendly to one another. One thing comes in order after another, and this is by virtue of the active movement and mutual cooperation and the unity of the substance. Adapt yourself to the things with which your lot has been cast, and love the people from whom you have received your portion. But do it sincerely. Every instrument, tool, or vessel is good, if it does what it was made to do, even though the one who made it is not there.
Here there. What?
But in the things
Delivering these
held together
barrels
by
to the
nature,
excavation
there
site
is
is hard
within them,
work,
and
but there
there
are so
remains
many
in them
depending on us
the
to get the
power
blast
that made
powder
them.
there.
Therefore,
Must
it
do
is
what we
more
can
fitting
against
to
the
revere
dark
this power,
ones.
and to think that if you live and
It'll
act
take more than a
according to
dark
its
iron ambush
will,
to stop the
everything
deliveries.
in you
But
is in
Scion,
harmony with intelligence.
I would never have suspected him to be
And
one of their
thus, also in the
sympathizers.
universe,
We've been
the
working with him
things
for
that
almost a
belong to
year
it
now.
are in harmony with
Just the
intelligence.
signs. Well,
Whatever things are not within your power that you
we've been hauling the
suppose to be
barrels of
good
powder
or
back and
evil,
forth.
it must necessarily follow that if such a bad thing
Now we have to
befalls
split
you,
up the
or
work.
if you lose such a
Moran's
good
taking the
thing,
barrels and
you
I'll
will
take
blame
the
the gods and hate people, those who are the cause of the misfortune or the loss, or
When he's
those
ready
who
to
are
go,
suspected
maybe
of
you
being
can escort him on
likely
his
to be
next
the
trip.
cause.
Hello,
Indeed,
adventurer!
we do
Ready
much
to go,
injustice because we make a difference between these things, because we do not regard these things as indifferent. But if we judge only those things which are within our power as good or bad, there remains no reason to either find fault with God or to stand in a hostile attitude towards people. We are all working together towards one end, some with knowledge and intention, and others without knowing what they do. As with people who are asleep, as Heraclitus, I think, said that they too are laborers and cooperators in the things that take place in the universe. But people cooperate in different ways, even those who find fault with what happens, and those who try to oppose it and hinder it also cooperate. For the universe has a need for such people too. So it remains for you to understand what kind of worker you place yourself among. For he who rules all things will certainly make good use of you, and he will place you among some part of the cooperators, and those whose labor contributes to one end. But do not be such a part as the mean and ridiculous verse in the play which Chrysippus speaks of. Does the sun try to do the work of the rain, or Aesculapius the work of the earth which bears fruit? And how is it with each of the stars? They are different, yet they all work together towards the same end. If the gods have determined about me, and the things that must happen to me, they have determined well, for it is not easy even to imagine a god without forethought. As for doing me harm, why should they have any desire for that? What advantage would result to them from this, or to the whole, which is the special object of their providence? But if they have not determined about me individually, they have certainly determined about the whole, and the things that happen as part of this arrangement should be accepted with pleasure, and I should be content with them. But if they decide about nothing, which is needed to believe, then we should neither sacrifice nor pray, nor swear by them, nor do anything else as if the gods were present and living with us. But if the gods don't decide about anything that concerns us, I can still decide for myself, and I can still seek what is useful. And what is useful to everyone is what aligns with their nature. My nature is rational and social, and my city and my country, as far as I am Antoninus, is Rome. But as far as I am human, it is the world. So the things that are useful to these cities are also useful to me. Whatever happens to each person is for the good of the whole. That should be enough. But if you look closer, you will see that whatever benefits one person also benefits others. However, let the word benefit be
thank the
understood
light, the
here in
powder
its
is here,
common
but
sense,
it is
referring to
troubling
things
news
that are neither
as
good
well.
nor
To
bad.
think that the Dark Irons have
Just as you
sympathizers
find
able
the
to procure
continuous
this sort
sight
of
of the
material
same
for their
things in
dastardly
the
plans.
amphitheater
That's
and
a matter
similar
for someone
places
else.
tiresome and
Some
boring,
other time.
so it is with life as a whole. Everything above and below is the same and comes from the same source. How much longer will this continue? Think often about how many different types of people, with different professions and from different nations, have died. And let your thoughts go down to even Philistion, Phoebus, and Oreganian. Now think about other types of people. We too must eventually move to that place where there are so many great orators, noble philosophers like Heraclitus, Pythagoras, and Socrates. So many heroes of old, and so many generals and kings who came after them. Add Eudoxus, Hipparchus, Archimedes, and other men of great intellect, vision, and dedication, as well as rogues, bigots, and even satirists like Menippus, who mocked this short and fleeting human life. Think about how all of them have long been in the dust. What harm has come to them? And what about those whose names are completely forgotten? There is only one thing of value in this life: to live in truth and justice, and to be tolerant of those who are neither true nor just. Whenever you want to cheer yourself up, think about the good qualities of the people around you. For example, one person's energy, another's decency, a third's generosity, and another's talent. Nothing cheers you up more than seeing virtues in the character of those you live with, especially when they are abundant. So keep these examples in your mind. You don't resent your weight, do you? That you weigh only a certain amount and not 300 pounds. So don't resent that your lifespan is only so many years and not more. Just as you are content with the amount of matter given to you, so be content with the amount of time you have. Try to persuade people, but act even if they don't agree when the principles of justice demand it. But if someone uses force to stop you, accept it peacefully, and use the obstacle as an opportunity to practice another virtue. And remember that you started on this path with a condition. You didn't aim for the impossible. So what were you aiming for? A certain effort, which you have accomplished if the things you were driven to do are not completed. A person who loves fame thinks another person's actions are his own good. A person who loves pleasure thinks his own sensations are his good. But a person with understanding considers his own actions as his good. It's within our power to have no opinion about something and not be disturbed in our soul because things themselves have no natural power to form our judgments. Get used to listening carefully to what others say and try as much as possible to understand what is in the speaker's mind. What isn't good for the hive isn't good for the bee either. If sailors spoke badly of their captain or patients of their doctor, would they listen to anyone else? If not, how could the captain ensure the safety of the passengers, or the doctor the health of those in his care? How many people who were born around the same time as me are already gone? Appearances. To someone with jaundice, honey tastes bitter. To someone bitten by a mad dog, water is terrifying. To little children, a ball is a wonderful thing. So why am I angry? Do you think a false opinion has less power than the bile in someone with jaundice, or the poison in someone bitten by a mad dog? No one will stop you from living according to the reason of your own nature. Nothing will happen to you that goes against the reason of universal nature. Think about the kind of people others want to please, the things they aim for, and the actions they take. How quickly time will cover everything, and how much it has already covered. Book 7. What is badness? It is what you have often seen. Remember this when anything happens. Is it what you have seen before? Everywhere you look, you will find the same things, as in ancient histories, medieval times, and in our day. Cities and houses are filled with them now. There is nothing new. All things are both familiar and short-lived. How can our principles die unless the thoughts corresponding to them are extinguished? But you have the power to keep these thoughts alive. I can hold the opinion about anything that I should hold. If I can, why am I disturbed? External things
How
have
are
no
you?
relation to my mind. Let this be your state, and you will stand tall. You have the power to reclaim your life. Look at things as you once did, for this is how to reclaim your life. The idle
See you
business of
soon.
show, stage plays, flocks of sheep, herds, spear exercises, bones cast to little dogs, bits of bread in fish ponds, labouring ants, scurrying mice, and puppets on strings, all alike. Your duty is to show good humour amid such things, not pride. To understand that every man is
Coffee.
worth as much as the things he busies himself with. In conversation, focus on what is said. In every moment, observe what is happening. In conversation, see what end it refers to. In movement, carefully watch what is signified. Is my understanding sufficient for this or not? If it is, I use it as an instrument given by the universe. If not, I either step aside for someone more capable, unless there's a reason I shouldn't, or I do my best, aided by someone who, with my guidance, can do what is fit and useful for the general good. Whatever I do, alone or with another, should be directed to what is useful and suited to society. Many celebrated by fame are forgotten. Many who celebrated others' fame are long dead. Do not be ashamed to be helped. It is your duty to do your part, like a soldier in a town assault. What if you are lame and cannot climb the battlements alone, but can with help? Let not future things disturb you, for you will face them, if necessary, with the same reason you use for present things. All things are interconnected, and the bond is sacred. Hardly anything is unconnected with any other thing. Things are coordinated and form the same universe, order. There is one universe of all things, one God who pervades all, one substance, one law, one common reason in all intelligent animals, and one truth. If there is one perfection for all animals of the same stock and reason, everything material soon disappears into the whole's substance. Everything formal, casual, is taken back into universal reason, and the memory of everything is soon overwhelmed in time. To the rational animal, the same act is natural and reasonable. Stand tall, or be made tall. Just as members in one body are united, rational beings, though separate, are constituted for one cooperation. This is more apparent if you often say to yourself that you are a member of rational beings.
Have a good one.
But if you say you are a part, you do not yet love people from your heart.
Adventurer rap,
Beneficence does
is it?
not
I can
delight
tell
you
you're
for its
bursting
own
with pride
sake.
over completing
You
the
do
first
it as
test,
propriety,
HM. As I
not
told you
as good
before,
for
it's no
yourself.
large feat. You should try your
Let
hand at boar
external
hunting.
things
Trust me.
fall as they may on
This'll be my
parts that
third
feel
attempt.
them. Those parts may complain if they choose.
At a hunter's challenge.
But I am not
Elder
harmed
Mountain
unless I
Boar.
think it is evil, and I have the power not to think so.
I need 5.
Whatever anyone does or says, I must be good. As gold, emerald, or purple says, whatever anyone does, I must keep my color. The ruling faculty does not disturb itself. It does not frighten or cause pain to itself. If someone else can frighten or pain it, let them. The faculty itself will not turn into such ways by its own opinion. Let the body take care not to suffer, and let it speak if it suffers. But the soul, subject to fear and pain, has the power of opinion about these things,
The mangy
and it
boar.
will suffer
It's an elder
nothing,
boar.
for it will not deviate into such a judgment. The leading principle wants nothing unless it creates a want for itself. It is free from disturbance and unimpeded if it does not disturb and impede itself. Eudaimonia, happiness, is a good daemon or a good thing. What are you doing here, imagination? Go away, I beg you, the gods, as you came. For I do not want you, but you have come, as you always do. I am not angry. Only go away. Is anyone afraid of change? Why? What happens without change? What is more pleasing or suitable to universal nature? Can you take a bath unless the wood changes? Can you be nourished unless the food changes? Can anything useful be accomplished without change? Do you not see that you too must change, just like everything in the universe? Through the universal substance, as through a torrent, all bodies are carried, united with and cooperating with the whole, like body parts with one another. Chrysippus, Socrates, and Epictetus has time swallowed. Let this thought occur to you with reference to everyone and everything. One thing only troubles me, lest I do something against human nature, or in a way it does not allow, or at the wrong time. Near is forgetfulness of all things. Near is forgetfulness of you by all. It is unique to man to love even wrongdoers. This happens when you remember they are do wrong through ignorance and unintentional, and both will soon die. Above all, the wrongdoer has not harmed you, for he has not worsted your ruling faculty. Universal nature, like wax, molds a horse, then a tree, then a man, then something else, each for a short time. It is no hardship for the vessel to be broken, just as there was none in its making. A scowling look is unnatural. When often assumed, it extinguishes comeliness. From this, conclude it is contrary to reason. If even the perception of doing wrong departs, why live longer? Nature, which governs the whole, will soon change all things you see and make new things from them to keep the world new. When someone wrongs you, consider with what opinion of good or evil they did it. When you see this, you will pity them, not wonder or be angry. For you either think the same thing is good or another similar thing. Your duty is to pardon them. If you do not think such things are good or evil, you will more readily be kind to the errant. Think not of what you lack, but of what you have. Select the best of what you have, and reflect on how eagerly you would have sought it if you lacked it. However, do not overvalue them, so as to be disturbed if you lose them. Retire into yourself. The rational ruling principle is content when it does what is just, securing tranquility. Wipe out imagination. Stop pulling the strings. Confine yourself to the present. Understand more what happens to you than others. Divide and distribute every object into the casual, formal, and material. Think of your last hour. Let the wrong done by someone stay where it was done. Focus on what is said. Let your understanding enter into the things being done and those doing. Adorn yourself with simplicity, modesty, and indifference to things between virtue and vice. Love mankind. Follow God. The poet says, law rules all. It is enough to remember, law rules all. About death, whether it is dispersion, resolution into atoms, or annihilation, it is either extinction or change. About pain, intolerable pain carries us off. Long-lasting pain is tolerable. The mind maintains tranquility by retreating into itself, and the ruling faculty is not worsened. Let harmed parts, if they can, express their opinion. About fame, observe the minds of those seeking fame, what they are, what they avoid, and what they pursue. As piles of sand hide former sands, life's events soon cover past ones. From Plato, can a man with an elevated mind and view of all time and substance think human life is great? It is not possible. Such a man thinks death is not evil. Certainly not. From Antisthenes, it is royal to do good and be abused. It is base for the countenance to obey and compose itself as the mind commands, but the mind not to be self-regulated and composed. Do not vex yourself over things, for they care not about it. To the immortal gods and us give joy. Life must be reaped like ripe corn. One is born, another dies. If gods do not care for me and my children, there is a reason. For the good and the just are with me. No joining in others' wailing, no violent emotion. From Plato, a sufficient answer is, you say wrong if you think a good man should consider the hazard of life or death,
You seem a bit
rather
worse
than
for
whether
wear.
he does
No doubt the
just
boars
or
gave you some
unjust
trouble,
works
HM.
of a good or
No
bad
worries.
man.
I will be discreet about your
For
struggle.
men of
I can
Athens,
imagine how hard it must
truly,
be for you
whenever a
without the
man
accusations
places
of wagging
himself,
tongue.
thinking it best,
Oh,
or
you
is
managed to
placed
kill
by
the
a
boars.
commander, he should stay
Well,
and abide
that is to
hazard,
say, I'm not
considering
surprised.
nothing,
Any child
death
could have
or
bet.
anything
What
else above deserting his post. Reflect if the noble and good differ from saving and being saved. A real man should dismiss such thoughts. A man must entrust these matters to the deity, believing women say no man can escape destiny. The next inquiry is how best to live the time given. Look at the courses of the stars as if traveling with them. Consider the elements changing into one another. Such thoughts purge the filth of earthly
I am
life.
listening.
Plato
What brings
says,
you here?
he who talks about men should view earthly things from above. In assemblies, armies, agriculture, marriages, treatises, births, deaths, courts, deserted places, barbarians, feasts, lamentations, markets. A mix of all things, an orderly combination of contraries. Consider the past's political changes. Foresee future things. They will be similar, not deviating from the present order. Contemplating life for 40 years is like contemplating 10,000. What more will you see? That which has grown from earth returns to earth. That which springs from heavenly seed returns to heavenly realms. This is dissolution of atoms is involution, or dispersion of unsentient elements. With food, drinks, and cunning magic arts, turning the channel to escape death, the breeze heaven sent, we must endure and toil without complaint. Another may cast his opponent better, but he is not more social, modest, or better disciplined to meet what happens, nor more considerate of neighbors' faults. Where work can be done comfortably to God's and men's reason, fear nothing. Where activity proceeds according to our constitution, no harm is suspected. Everywhere and always you can piously accept your condition, behave justly to those around you, and focus on present thoughts, examining them well. Do not look around for others' principles. Look to what nature leads you, the universal nature through events, and your own nature through your actions. Every being should act according to his constitution. All else is for rational beings, like inferior things for superior ones, but rational for one another. The primary principle in man's constitution is social. The second is not yielding to the body's persuasions, as rational, intelligent motion circumscribes itself. Never overpowered by senses or appetites, both animal, intelligent motion claims superiority, not allowing itself to be overpowered. With good reason, for it is formed to use all. The third thing in rational constitution is freedom from error and deception. Let the ruling principle hold these things and go straight on with what is its own. Consider yourself dead and have completed life up to now. Live according to nature, the remainder allowed. Love only what happens to you and is spun with destiny's thread. What is more suitable? In everything that happens, consider those who experience the same, how they were vexed and treated them as strange. Where are they now? Nowhere. Why act the same? Why not leave these agitations, foreign to nature, to those causing and moved by them? Why not focus on the right use of things happening to you? Use them well. They will be material for you. Only attend to yourself and resolve to be good in every act. Look within. Within is the fountain of good, ever bubbling if you dig. The body should be compact, showing no irregularity in motion or attitude. The mind's intelligence and propriety should show in the face and in the whole body without affectation. Life's art is more like wrestling than dancing. Stand ready and firm for sudden, unexpected assets. Observe those whose approval you want and their principles. You will not blame involuntary offenders or want their approval if you know their opinions and appetite sources. Every soul is involuntarily deprived of truth. It is deprived of justice, temperance, benevolence, and everything of the kind. Bear this in mind, and you will be gentler towards all. In every pain, remember it is not dishonorable, nor worsens the governing intelligence. It does not harm intelligence rationally or socially. Epicurus said most pains are neither intolerable nor everlasting if you remember they have limits and add nothing in imagination. Remember, many disagreeable things are like pain, such as drowsiness, heat, lack of appetite. When discontented with these, say you yield to pain. Do not feel toward the inhuman as they feel toward men. How do we know if Telauges wasn't a better person than Socrates? It's not enough that Socrates died in a more honorable way, argued better with the sophists, endured a cold night more strongly, or that when he was told to arrest Leon of Salamis, he thought it was more honorable to refuse, or that he walked confidently in the streets, though we might doubt this if the last part is true. Instead, we should ask what kind of soul Socrates had. Was he able to be satisfied with being fair to people and respectful to the gods? Did he avoid being upset by people's wrongdoings or becoming a slave to anyone's ignorance? Did he accept everything that happened to him as part of life without thinking it was too much to bear? Did he keep his mind from being affected by the troubles of the body? Nature hasn't mixed your mind with your body in a way that stops you from controlling yourself and mastering what is truly yours. It's entirely possible to be a great person without anyone noticing. Always remember this: very little is needed to live a happy life. And even if you've given up on becoming a great thinker or scientist, don't lose hope of being free, modest, social, and obedient to God. You have the power to live free from pressure, with a peaceful mind. Even if the whole world shouts at you, and even if wild animals tear apart this body that surrounds you, what stops the mind in all this from staying calm, judging everything around it fairly, and using what it has wisely, so that the mind can say to what it sees, "This is what you really are," even if people think you're something else. And the mind can say to what it uses, "You're exactly what I was looking for." For me, whatever happens is always an opportunity for virtue, whether it's rational or social, and in short, for the practice of the art that belongs to humans or gods. Everything that happens is connected to either God or humans, and is neither new nor hard to deal with. It's familiar and useful material to work with. The perfection of moral character is to live each day as if it were your last, without getting overly excited, sluggish, or pretending to be someone you're not. The gods who never die aren't upset that they have to put up with humans for so long, even though many of them are bad. In fact, they still care for them in every way. But you will die soon. Are you tired of putting up with the bad, even though you're one of them yourself? It's ridiculous for a person not to escape their own badness, which is possible, but to try and escape other people's badness, which is impossible. Whatever the rational and social part of us finds to be neither intelligent nor social, it rightly judges to be below itself. When you've done something good and someone else has benefited from it, why do you look for something else, like fools do? Whether it's to gain a reputation for doing good or to get something in return. No one gets tired of receiving what's useful, but it's useful to act according to nature. So don't get tired of receiving what's useful by doing good for others. The nature of everything decided to create the universe. Now, either everything that happens is a result of that, or the main things that the universe's ruling power moves towards are governed by no rational principle. If you believe this, it will help you stay calm in many situations. Book 8. This thought can help you stop caring about empty fame. You no longer have the chance to live your whole life, or even just your adult life, as a philosopher. It's clear to many, including yourself, that you are far from being a philosopher. Your life has become disordered, making it hard to gain the reputation of a philosopher, and your way of living goes against it too. If you truly understand this, stop worrying about how you appear to others. Instead, be happy if you can live the rest of your life in the way your nature wants. Focus on what your nature desires, and let nothing else distract you. You've already wandered through many paths without finding happiness anywhere. Not in logical arguments, not in wealth, not in fame, not in pleasure, not in anything. So where can happiness be found? It's found in doing what human nature requires. And how do you do this? By having principles that guide your feelings and actions. What principles? Those that relate to what is good and bad. Understand that nothing is good unless it makes you just, self-controlled, brave, and free. And nothing is bad unless it does the opposite. Before every action, ask yourself, how does this affect me? Will I regret it? In a short time, I will be dead, and all will be gone. What more do I need if what I am doing now is the work of an intelligent social being who follows the same laws as God? Alexander, Julius Caesar, and Pompey, how do they compare to Diogenes, Heraclitus, and Socrates? The latter understood things, their causes and their essence, and their guiding principles were in harmony with their pursuits. But as for the others, how many things did they have to worry about? And how many things were they slaves to? Remember that people will keep doing the same things, even if you burst with frustration. The most important thing is not to be disturbed, for everything happens according to the nature of the universe, and soon you will be nobody and nowhere, just like Hadrian and Augustus. Then focus steadily on your task, look at it, and remember that your duty is to be a good person and to do what human nature demands. Do this without straying, and speak as you think is most just, but do so kindly, modestly, and sincerely. The nature of the universe constantly works to change things, to move them from one place to another. Everything is changing, but there's no need to fear anything new. Everything is familiar. What happens is neither new nor hard to deal with, but is a usual part of the whole. Every living thing is satisfied when it follows its nature. A rational being follows its nature when it agrees with truth, directs its actions towards social good, limits its desires to what is within its power, and accepts everything that happens as part of the universal order. This universal nature includes every individual nature, just as a leaf is part of the plant's nature. Just as a leaf is part of the plant's nature. However, the nature of the leaf is part of a plant that cannot perceive or reason and can be stopped in growth, while human nature is part of a larger nature that is not impeded and is intelligent and just, giving everything its fair share of time, substance, cause, action, and experience. But don't expect everything to be exactly equal in all respects. Instead, look at the whole picture of how one thing compares to the sum of another. You may not have time to study, but you do have time to control your arrogance.
What's this?
You may have time to
Bear's
rise
head.
above
What's
pleasure
that?
and pain.
Well,
to let
quite
go
an
of the
interesting
love
kill
of
you have
fame,
yourself there.
and not to be upset
Couldn't be
by
that bear from
foolish
back
or
then.
ungrateful people.
Oh, take that away. Take it
but
away.
to care for them instead.
Hello.
Don't let anyone hear you complaining
Hello.
about your life or the life in the court. Regret is a form of self-blame for missing out on something useful.
Level
But
19.
if something is truly good, it must be useful, and a truly good person should pursue it. No good person would ever regret not indulging in a sensual pleasure. So pleasure is neither good nor
Talk to me.
useful. Ask yourself, what is this thing really? What is it made of? What is its purpose in the world? How long will it last? When you wake up and feel reluctant to get out of bed, remember that it is in your nature as a human being to perform social duties. Sleeping is something you share with animals, but acting according to your nature is something that belongs uniquely to you and is more fitting and pleasant. Constantly examine your impressions, every single one if possible. Look at its cause, identify the feeling it brings, and analyze it logically. Whenever you meet someone, immediately ask yourself, what opinions does this person hold about what is good and bad? If he believes certain things about pleasure, pain, fame, dishonor, life, and death, it won't be surprising if he acts in a certain way, and you'll understand that he's compelled to do so. It's as silly to be surprised by a fig tree producing figs as it is to be surprised when the world produces things that are natural to it. Similarly, it would be foolish for a doctor to be surprised by a patient having a fever, or a sailor by an unfavorable wind. Remember that changing your mind and following someone who corrects your mistake is just as much part of your freedom as sticking to your original opinion. This change comes from your own choice, your own judgment, and your own understanding. If something is within your control, why aren't you doing it? But if it's under someone else's control, why do you blame atoms or gods? Both are senseless. You should blame no one. If you can, fix the cause. If you can't, at least fix the effect. But if that's not possible, what good does it do to complain? Everything should have a purpose. What dies does not leave the universe. If it remains here, it changes here and dissolves into its basic parts, which are elements of the universe and of yourself. These elements also change, and they don't complain about it. Everything has a purpose, like a horse or a vine. Why are you surprised? Even the sun would say, I exist for a purpose, and the other gods would say the same. So what is your purpose? To enjoy pleasure? See if that makes sense. Nature's purpose includes everything, from the beginning to the end. Just like someone tossing a ball. How is it good for the ball to go up, and bad for it to come down, or even to hit the ground? The same could be said of a bubble when it forms, and when it bursts, or a candle when it is lit, and when it goes out. Turn it, the body, inside out, and see what kind of thing it is, what it becomes when it grows old, and when it is sick. Both the praiser and the praised, The rememberer and the remembered are
The
short-lived.
esteemed Dr. Gustav van
and
Housen
all
can
this
train you further.
happens in a
He can be
tiny
found in
corner of the
Theramore
world.
treating the wounded
Not
at the
even
barracks.
here do people agree, not even with themselves. And the whole Earth is just a point in space. Focus on the matter in hand, whether it's an opinion, an action, or a word. You deserve what you're going through because you choose to become good tomorrow instead of today. Am I doing something? I do it with the good of humanity in mind. Is something happening to me? I accept it is coming from the gods and the source of all things, from which everything is connected. Just like bathing seems, oil, sweat, dirt, filthy water, all things disgusting, so is every part of life and everything in it. Lucilla saw Verus die, and
The
then
esteemed Dr.
Lucilla
Gustav
died.
van Housen can train you
Secunda
further.
saw Maximus
He can be
die,
found in
and then
Theramore treating the
Secunda
wounded
died.
at the barracks.
Eptincanus saw Diotimus die, and then Eptincanus died. Antoninus saw Faustina die, and then Antoninus died. And so it goes for everyone. Celer saw Hadrian die, and then Celer died. Where are those sharp-witted men now? Those prophets or proud individuals? Harax, Demetrius the Platonist, and Eudaemon, where are they? All of them were just temporary, and now they're dead. Some haven't been remembered at all. Some became legends, and others have even disappeared from legends. So remember that this little body of yours will either be scattered, your breath will be extinguished, or you will be moved to another place. A man finds satisfaction in doing the right work for a man, and the right work for a man is to be kind to others, to rise above the distractions of the senses, to judge things fairly, and to understand the nature of the universe and everything that happens in it. There are 3 relationships. One to the body that surrounds you. The second to the divine source from which everything comes. The third to the people you live with. Pain is either an evil to the body, let the body say what it thinks of that, or to the soul. But the soul has the power to keep itself calm, and not to think that pain is an evil. Every judgment, movement, desire, and aversion is within, and no evil can rise above it. Erase your harmful thoughts by often reminding yourself, now it's in my power to keep this soul free from any badness, from any desire, from any disturbance at all. By looking at things as they are, I can use each one according to its value. Remember this power that nature has given you. Speak plainly, whether in the Senate or to any person, without being pretentious. Use straightforward language. The court of Augustus, wife, daughter, descendants, ancestors, sister, Agrippa, relatives, friends, Arius, Maecenas, doctors and priests are all dead. Then think of others, not just one person's death, but the end of a whole family, like in Pompeii. And consider the words written on the tombs, the last of his race. Then think of all the effort those before them put in to leave behind an heir, and that eventually one must be the last. Again, think about the end of an entire family. You must organize your life action by action, and be content if each action achieves its purpose as well as it can. No
Looks
one
good.
can prevent you from achieving this,
ya
but there will
soon.
be some external obstacle. No obstacle can stop you from acting justly, with self-control, and with reason. But maybe some other action will be blocked. Accept the block gladly, and make a wise change to meet the situation. Another opportunity for action will immediately take its place, and fit it into the plan for your life. Receive wealth or prosperity without arrogance, and be ready to let it go. If you've ever seen a hand, foot, or head cut off and lying apart from the body, that's what you do to yourself when you refuse to accept your lot or do something unsocial. Imagine you've cut yourself off from the natural whole. You were born to be part of it, but now you've separated yourself. But here's the amazing thing. It's within your power to reunite with the whole. God has allowed this to no other part, once it's been cut off, to come together again. But think of the kindness by which he has distinguished humans, giving them the ability not to be separated at all, or to return and reunite if they are. Just as the nature of the whole has given every rational being all other powers, so we have received this power too. Just as the universal nature turns everything that stands in its way into a part of itself and uses it, so the rational animal can turn every obstacle into material for its own purpose and use it to achieve its goal. Don't let the thought of your whole life overwhelm you, and don't dwell on all the troubles that may have happened in the past or may happen in the future. Just ask yourself, what is there in this situation that I can't bear or handle? You'll be ashamed to admit it. Then remember that it's neither the future nor the past that burdens you, but only the present. The present burden is very small if you isolate it, and challenge your mind if it can't handle even this. Does Panthea or Pergamus still sit by the tomb of Verus? Does Cabrius or Diotimus still sit by the tomb of Hadrian? That would be ridiculous. Even if they did, would the dead be aware of it? And if they were aware, would they be pleased? And if they were pleased, would that make their mourners immortal? Was it not their fate to grow old? Old women and men like everyone else, and then to die? And with them dead, what would those they mourned do then? It's all just foul-smelling decay in a bag of bones. If you have sharp sight, use it, but also add wise judgment. In the structure of a rational being, I see no virtue that opposes justice, but I do see a virtue that opposes pleasure, and that is self-control. If you take away your judgment about something that seems painful, you yourself remain unharmed by it. Who is this self? The reason. But I'm not just reason. True. So let your reason not trouble itself. But if another part of you suffers, let it have its own judgment about itself. An obstacle to sense perception is harmful to animal nature. An obstacle to desires is also harmful to animal nature. And something else is equally an obstacle and a harm to the nature of plants. So anything that blocks the mind is harmful to intelligent nature. Apply this to yourself. Is pain or pleasure affecting you? That's for the senses to deal with. Have you met an obstacle in your efforts? If this effort was unconditional, then yes, the obstacle is harmful to your rational nature. But if you consider the usual course of things, you haven't yet been harmed or even impeded. Nothing can impede the proper functions of the mind. The mind can't be touched by fire, steel, tyranny, or slander in any way. When it's made perfect, it remains complete. I shouldn't harm myself, as I've never intentionally harmed anyone else. Different things bring different people joy, but my joy comes from keeping my mind clear. Not turning away from anyone or anything that happens, but looking at it and accepting everything with kind eyes, and using each thing according to its value. See that you make the most of this present moment. Those who chase after fame after death don't realize that the people of the next generation will be just like those they dislike now. Both groups will die. And what does it matter to you if those future people say this or that about you? Take me and put me wherever you will. Wherever I am, I'll keep my inner self calm and satisfied if it can act according to its nature. Is this situation any good reason for my soul to be unhappy? And worse than it was? Expanded, shrinking, scared. And what would be a good reason for that? Nothing can happen to any human being that isn't natural to humans, just as nothing happens to an ox that isn't natural to oxen, or to a vine that isn't natural to vines, or to a stone that isn't natural to a
All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us for, I think, episode 18 of Hardcore WoW and Stoicism. Hope you learned something, and I will talk to you all later.